Hello everyone and welcome to a professional development on a book we all read as a teen, Good to Great by Jim Collins. My name is Bridge Rowell. This book was chosen primarily to help us find long-term solutions to setbacks we all experience as professionals in fields where adapting to change is a must, but can be forgotten, and at times, through societal stresses, we succumb to blaming others or simply accepting what is and refusing to change and grow. But as professionals, we are here to grow. That's why we're here. The choice of this book allows us, as Darwin Smith says in response to being asked what he attributes his success to, in one of my favorite takeaways from this book, the Level 5 leadership part, which I'll get into the next slide, I never stopped trying to become qualified for the job, is what Darwin Smith said. So that's exactly what the premise of this book is about. Focusing on the greatest qualities leaders of organizations have and will need to embrace in order to maximize growth at consistent levels throughout a given career. Now, each concept discussed within this professional development is based on Jim Collins and his team's data of companies who were good companies in a serious stagnant growth period, which seemed as if the company was simply resting on their laurels. Now these companies that were studied had a real interesting transitional period which boosted them from the good company they were to the great company that they were growing into. So the first takeaway is this level 5 leadership. They found consistency among every leader of these good to great companies and they all shared some common qualities, some of which I can identify with in both personal and professional life, as a true asset to day-to-day functions. I'm sure many of us in service positions can agree. The core quality of level 5 leadership is basically humility, simply being a small part of the whole, doing things not for selfish profit motive, but for the company as a whole. Not only do they work hard, these level 5 leaders, to benefit every facet of the company and its success, but also don't take credit for it. They give credit to the entire production. They became workers among workers and did not take credit for it as many leaders do or want to do. They did the same when it came to failures. These level 5 leaders did not redirect the blame onto a specific department or a person or an external threat. They humbly took responsibility for their actions, even if it was not theirs. Egotistically, sure, I think it's natural for us to want to take credit for where it's due. But the results these companies achieved through staying humble is phenomenal. The next slide can be tied into this with focus on what characteristics a good to great leader possesses. Most leaders of these good to great companies studied had more than charisma, which is something we all need in order to motivate others and work as a leader. They had also, though, a realistic approach backed by hard facts on where the company needed to be. They put aside the vision after putting the right people on the bus, which is another key strategy within this book. Putting the right people on, taking the right people off, and from there, they are able to see where the company could go. The good to great leaders try to stay outside of the boxes formulated by previous generations or societal pressures of where their companies need to be and actually utilize the facts on what their companies were able to offer and what the people wanted, regardless of vision. They believed that the organization itself would be motivated through straight results, rather than a vision that had no step-by-step process. The steps to confront the brutal facts are outlined like this. 1. Lead with the questions, not the answers. This allows meetings with departments to serve as an assessment tool and to give room for growth rather than shutting down meetings with a leader who shuts it down with answers to some questions that leave no room for growth and cause regression within a department. Number 2. Engage in dialogue and debate, not coercion. 3. Conduct autopsies without blame. And 4. Build red flag mechanisms. So here are the 4 steps, and this ties into level 5 leadership's focus on humility with step-by-step instructions on how to present yourself as a small part of a whole. I mentioned charisma as being an asset earlier, but too much charisma, or in my take on it, coming on too strong, can deter others from bringing you the hard facts that you need, the data that you need to assess where you are and where you are able to go with what you currently have. These steps are easily parallel to the system currently in place with how we assess each student. The data we collect, which gives us the ability to group them where they need to be to receive the most appropriate accommodations and modifications. As adults, assessing ourselves can be difficult. These steps help leaders Staff and faculty have a more fluid relationship that is open-minded and not clouded by subjective ideologies. Now to give light to what I discussed with getting the right people where they need to be, or not to be, and then allowing the correct placement to self-motivate through proper arrangement. The growth and destination will occur. This is where a little faith comes in as well. Focusing on getting the right people where they need to be can be a difficult task, but not impossible and definitely not new. The focus within this key component of the book also details taking inventory of these people and ensuring the wrong people are not on the bus with the right ones. So, almost like taking out the trash, clearing away the debris or wreckage from the past, and moving on into the positive with the newly arranged right people. This strategy also details asking who and what questions and engaging in debates to see who knew their stuff. To deter the wrong people, to leave and make room for people who truly want to exert their rigorous work ethic. The rigor is attained by a few more steps that help a company after they have the right members. So the steps are detailed in a manner of disciplinary steps. Step 1, when in doubt, don't hire. Keep looking. Step 2, when you know you need to make a people change, act. Here you also need to be assessing and making sure you don't have someone useful in the wrong area. And 3, put your best people on your biggest opportunities, not problems.